Actually, you can take it right back down to wood with alcohol. And shellac will just keep coming off. You'd have to use a lot of rags. One more layer. Yes, please. Yeah, and just keeping an eye on it. I can see now it's starting to build up a little more in some areas. You can see here, Dave. All right, so we're gonna get a little heavier layer. And when you pour your stuff out, give it a little rub around, spread it out.
Maybe you should start at the other end sometimes.
I'm going to melt it all together before I finish this piece up. But I want to make sure at least it's kind of even. Okay. Speed her up. What's that on now, then? This is where I would take it up to about 1,000. You got it? Good. All right. A little bit of alcohol. And you can feel, the minute you touch that, as you come across, you can feel it getting slipperier and slipperier. Right? And the minute it starts to drag again, which is, I'm starting to feel it right now. Stop that. Take some walnut oil, spread it around. A few passes back and forth. This will flatten the entire thing out. You got alcohol, a thinned out mixture of the shellac, and the oil lubricates it so you can slide across it easy. Let it run for about a minute to get all the alcohol off. No drinking this.
Aren't you getting spritzed up? It's not.
That's one of the reasons why you make sure you rub it in. Yeah, I've had a few shirts and I think these pants even have, where I tried doing it, even cheating more, holding the rag and pouring it like, and it all over. All right, let's shut this thing down. All right. And that is just the very first application.
Now, you'd wait a few days for the next application.
Yeah. I mean, you could cheat it, but so for those of us that are not really good with spray cans, I always get drips. When I'm doing small projects, like I said, the friction polish for boxes and stuff, but if it's a really, really nice piece, I want to hit it with this stuff. And then, how are we doing on time, Jim?
20 minutes.
Okay, good. Can you grab the chuck out of there? Anyway, that was for doing a cylinder gauge. Right? So now you got a flat spot, a flat plate. Okay? Basically, it's the same process, but you kind of have to do this one, apply the pumice by hand. Okay? So the first thing we would do, imagine that's on the, we're going to hit it with our straight shellac.
It won't hold it enough.
And we want to try to go in all directions so it gets down into the pores. And I'm hitting it until it really builds up some friction. And I guess you can actually do the whole thing off the lathe if you want to. Might take a few extra hours or days. Another fiber. Lydia's suggestion, make sure you vacuum your rags.
It really makes a difference. There's just so much dust
That was
on
the
them.
straight shellac. And you get on to the one with the pumice. And you have a little oil.
I had to work on my vacuum before I could do it.
Some pumice. Spread it around till it disappears. No go. We'll see the same effect, I think. Just pull it shiny. All directions.
Can you show the bottom to the camera?
The bottom.
No, down lower. Up higher. Yeah, show the face, up a little higher. There you go. Thank you.
Vacuuming, so then I had to dig out my
All right.
under all this stuff.
So we filled the pores.
And vacuum out the inside.
Yeah.
Then wash the filter. Vacuum.
If I can pin this in here. All right, so we've got the pores filled. You can kind of see, compared to the other one, it's got that haze over it. All right, so now we're going to take the alcohol. We're going to kind of melt that. Until it starts to drag. There it goes. Obviously, we are not going to get this quite as dry as if it was spinning at 1,000. But it should still come out pretty nice. No chucks?
So that's the shellac diluted, and you're rubbing it with a pad right onto the wood.
Man, I'm already feeling some friction, so I'm going to add,
And you put rotten stone on the rubber.
what's that?
Put the rotten stone on the rubber.
Yeah, I already did that before. Rubbed it in, try to get all directions. Nice thing when you're doing a cylinder, it's better to go, I want to say, against the grain than with the grain. You go with the grain, it tends to pull it right out. The rotten stone and any of the amalgam you're creating with some dust, oil, it drags it out. So when you're doing the rotten stone, you want to make sure that you're at least going some against the grain. And again, by hand, it's really not too bad. You still get a nice finish. It's just, you can build it up a lot faster, especially when you're talking about 30 layers. You know. And just hit this until it starts dragging. That's already pretty good. that was 3 layers. We're gonna let that sit for just a moment, let it dry as much as it can. And my suggestion, as soon as you are done with these guys, throw them away. That way you're not tempted to grab them again the next time.
Should you throw them in water?
No, it's not like linseed oil.
Okay.
Yeah, it's,
It's not an exothermic reaction as it dries.
we're gonna speed this along. We have about 10 minutes of.
Mm-hmm.
And hit once with the alcohol, soften up a little bit. The oil. Let's see how we do. There, and that's by hand. So that's a pretty quick, easy way to put a finish on if you don't want to, if you don't like spraying, and you really want to grab that chatoyance of a particular piece of wood. The one-off piece, again, production, you could probably never make any money. Piece of furniture maybe, but then you're probably investing a month, which they do in some of those. Some of the pieces, it's worth it.
I know guitar makers use French polishing. I don't know if it increases a better sound for the instrument or.
No, but they look, Martin has 3 or 4 people
Yeah, some people do.
that do it. The mahogany turns out really pretty. The African mahogany, when you first cut it, sand it, there's nothing. You know, it's a nice smooth, but the minute you hit oil on it, all the figure, the chatoyance, everything comes out on it. And I managed to get 2 nice chunks of that African mahogany, which some people call it a cedar. But the figure on it's gorgeous once you hit the oil. And you never know what you're going to get. It's like a Forrest Gump box of chocolates. You make the plainest thing in the world. You know, you have it all sanded down. Yeah, it's a nice smooth finish. You go to put oil on it, and
To get a real deep finish, how many times would you do this?
let's see. My wife's face, I think I had 30 coats.
30
For
coats?
1 pound cut.
So,
And I did 3 at a time.
okay.
3 coats, and then let it sit for a couple days.
So do you count those 3 coats as each one coat?
3. So it was 10,
Okay, that's.
over a
what I-
period of 10
Yeah. that's
10
what I-
sessions. But once you get all the rotten stone, everything in it, or the pumice in it, everything, what did it take me? 10 minutes? You know, you set up, if you have it on a jig or however you're holding it, it's really only about 10 minutes, because you wipe it on, let it spin for a minute, slow the lathe back down, wipe the next coat on, spin it, next coat, spin it, and then hit it with a little bit of alcohol and the oil. Flatten it all off, then let it sit and harden.